USB device not recognized is a common USB error. In this video, I'm going to explain to you how to troubleshoot and fix such a problem. When talking about USB, the list is endless. Phone, flash disk, external hard disk drive, the list goes on. So anything that uses USB that can communicate to the PC, right? Yeah, so I'm going to explain how you can troubleshoot and fix any kind of USB device that the PC cannot recognize. So if there is a USB error, what could be responsible? There are three things involved. Number one, the device you are trying to connect to the PC. Number two, the USB cable. And lastly, number three, the host, that is the PC that you are trying to use. So one of these could be responsible for the error. Let me use an example of phone. You see this phone, this is an example of, let's say you want to connect this phone to a PC and it says USB device not recognized. With that, you cannot access the content on the phone and you cannot send anything to the phone because the PC has not recognized the phone. Although the phone will be charging, but you cannot activate the mass storage. You cannot access the storage that is on the phone. Hence, you cannot access the phone. What could cause that, right? The fault could come from the phone. If you look at, the phone has a USB port, right? And this is how the USB port is. Now depends if the phone is Type C or it is this type of USB. I think this is Type A, right? So this type of USB, yeah? If you look at this USB ports and look at the connection, this USB port, it is a means of communication from the PC or if it is charger to the motherboard, right? So it is a means of communication, right? So this port, it make contact to the motherboard. So if something has happened, it often happens anyway, that there will be a kind of partial contact of this USB port and the motherboard. Maybe to be lifting. At some point, the soldering points, like the soldering joints, will be weakened. So hence, the port could not make those contacts because there are pins about 4, 5, thereabout. Yeah. So there are pins that will go to the motherboard. Here is Type C. If you look at it, the same thing. Let come to focus. Good. Let's look at the base, right? There's a connection to the board, and here the other, yeah, there's a connection to the board. So there could be a partial contact. That means something has happened to the soldering joint, hence it has weakened, and it has caused the port to lift up from the motherboard. So that is why maybe if you position your the device a certain way, maybe it's going to recognize it. And it's also applicable to the charging. Yeah. So it could be that there's a partial contact there. So hence the port needs to be fixed. So the soldering joint needs to be renewed so that there will be a firm connection between the USB ports, USB port pins, and the motherboard. Okay, so that is that, right? Number two, it could be that the USB is faulty. So if you try to fix that, you are going to try it with another USB cable, right? So that is number two. And lastly, the fault will come from the motherboard. That is from the PC itself. That is the motherboard. And here's an example. Here's a motherboard. And all the motherboards, they have USB ports. Now, as I've explained with USB port, that the ports communicate to the motherboard, right? And it has pin that's connected to the motherboard. Yeah? The same is also applicable to here, to laptop as well. So the soldering points, yeah, the soldering joint could have weakened, and hence there's a kind of a partial contact. So it does not make a firm connection to the motherboard. Yeah. So that is, fault can come from the motherboard, from the PC itself. So it now depends what kind of fault does it have. All right. So starting from the phone, is it that the port is bad or the soldering joint has broken off and hence needs to be renewed, or the port needs to be replaced? Worst case scenario will be that the fault comes from the data section from the motherboard, not from the port, but from the motherboard. But it is extremely rare for such to happen. All right. And the same to also applicable to the PC as well. All right. So what often develop faults is the port. And the same to also applicable to PC as well. All right. It could be that the fault is having problem. Okay. So basically three things. Yeah. Basically three things. The device you are trying to connect could be at fault. So you find out what is responsible. Is it that the port soldering point, the soldering joint has weakened, hence it requires replacement, or it requires to be, the joint requires to be renewed. Number two, could it be that the cable is bad? And lastly, the port. So how we know which one is by testing. First, you try with, maybe if it is a phone, you try with another cable and see if it's working. And you also try the cable on another phone. But if the cable does not work on another phone and using another cable also work with the phone, that means the problem comes from the cable. But if the problem persists, that means the cable is not at fault. Next will be, okay, to check, is my phone faulty? So try another phone, yeah. Try another phone with the PC and see if the PC can recognize it, right? So that is for USB not recognize, and see if it's going to pop up the error. But if it pop up the error, could be that means the problem is not from the phone. Perhaps is the PC. Then you try to try another port and see if it's going to work. So basically that is it. So that's how you go about the troubleshooting. Because if you cannot troubleshoot, there's no way that you can, fix a problem. You have to know how to do this troubleshooting. And basically that is it. And with that method, you can apply this kind of, let me say, principle, right? You can apply it to everything. It could be, maybe you can apply to this. This is, yeah, the external drive. Yeah, this external drive. You can apply it to it. If you plug it to PC in order for you to read and says USB recognize, same principle applies. The same thing goes to flash disk. That is flash drive. With flash drive, there's no cable. A flash drive, you connect flash drive. Let me bring this out. Or that was flash disk. All right. So here is flash disk, right? Is it that there's no a cable? So this directly to the ports. All right, this directly to the port. So if this directly to the port, no, there are two things now, right? That is motherboard and the flash disk. Okay, so you can try the USB, the flash disk on another PC and see if the message will read the same thing or the PC will recognize it. But if the PC recognizes it, that means this flash disk is okay. So next is the motherboard, that the PC itself is at fault. So, on a PC, there are several ports. Try the several ports and see if it's going to recognize it. But if it persists and that PC could recognize the flash disk, like the problem comes from this, and try another USB and see if it's going to work. But definitely it's not going to work. It's going to repeat the same error. That is USB device not recognized. So we cannot seek out a technician to help you to fix it. What caused it? All right, so that is it. That is how you go about the troubleshooting. It's very easy. All right, and the same to also applicable to if you are using printer. So the list is endless. The point is, but I can't adjust the list, right? The point is anything, right? Anything that uses USB, you connect to a PC and it's a USB not recognized, right? That's how you go about the troubleshooting. There are three things involved, right? The device that you're trying to plug in, then the USB cable, lastly, the PC. So when you go about the troubleshooting that way, you know where the problem lies. Then to fix it becomes easy peasy. See you next time.